Greetings from my tub. I'm in here getting 5% cash back when I pay in 4 with PayPal. No fees, no interest. Make the most of your money this holiday with PayPal. Save the offer in the app.
Ends 12/31. See paypal.com/promo terms. Points can be redeemed for cash and more. Pay in 4 subject to terms and approval. PayPal link at NMLS 910457.
From Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
Tommy back.
Yeah, I am.
And the executive producers of Power.
There's levels to this game.
Comes the final season of Force.
We're going to have to be careful about our next move.
We get what we can now and take the rest later. This is going to be the battle of our life. It's go time.
This is a dangerous life that I choose to be in with you.
Force.
Never bet against me because I'm always winning.
Premieres November 7th, only on Stars and the Stars app.
What a bittersweet Week 9 for the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, on one hand, they get the 34-24 victory over the New York Giants and climb to 6-3 on the season and back in the win column. On the other hand, they lose what could be Mykel Williams for the rest of the season due to a knee injury. Could be an ACL tear. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it is less. But a bittersweet Week 9 for the San Francisco 49ers nonetheless. Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett. And this was a great game for San Francisco besides the Mykel injury. Going to get into Mac Jones' performance, the reemergence of Brian Robinson, Christian McCaffrey's record-setting day, and a big rebound by Robert Saleh's defense. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's dive in to San Francisco's Week number 9 victory against the New York Giants in the Big Apple, and they left with a Manhattan state of mind because San Francisco, for the first time this season, put up 34 points. In fact, put up over 30 points this season. This was their highest scoring game of 2025 and surpassed their previous highest mark of 26, which they hit twice, once in Week 2 against the New Orleans Saints and once in, I think, Week 5 against the Los Angeles Rams. And I don't know about you guys out there, but I certainly felt like this one was all San Francisco. The Giants had one really good drive to begin the game. They marched up and down on San Francisco's defense on that first drive. 10 plays, 64 yards, and things felt like the Texans' outing was going to continue, but we knew that if San Francisco's young team, mainly on defense, could take that first punch and keep pushing back and get back up and take some jabs and go for the knockout themselves, they'd be just fine. Thankfully, San Francisco's offense answers with 7 points of their own on 12 plays, 68 yards, in a 6-minute and 34-second drive, and that pretty much was the end of it. After that scoring drive by San Francisco, the Giants had to punt on 4 consecutive drives and did not get the ball into the red zone until the penultimate drive of the first half, which was caused by a Brian Burns strip sack of Mac Jones, where San Francisco, for once this season, was trying to capitalize on maybe about 18 seconds of play left or 25 seconds of play left to score before halftime. But other than that, I thought San Francisco's defense was awesome. Was just tremendous today. The secondary got their groove back. The run defense looked like how you wanted it to be against the Houston Texans, Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. They shut down Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary today, and it certainly helps to know that the Giants didn't have Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo, but this was a great bounce-back day for San Francisco. That said, I want to get to the YouTube chat to highlight some comments we have here. The first one, that being from Niners Red Zone. They say, chalk up another win in the column. That's very true. San Francisco gets back in the win column and climbs really still to third place because the Rams beat the Saints and the Seahawks just took it to the Washington Commanders tonight on Sunday Night Football. So Niners don't move in the rankings or the standings, but it's still a win. Keeps them on pace with the rest of the NFC West. Lori Matthews says, a late one tonight. Yes, it is, Lori. I'm not sure where you're at in Phoenix, but if it's 9:35 there or 8:35, yes, I had to push things off because I wanted to see what happened when the Seahawks and Commanders played, but that game was a stinker. And Sam Darnold looks incredible, and so does that Seahawks defense, setting up for a big Week 18 against the San Francisco 49ers as the season progresses. And John here says, Sterling, they're 6-3. CMC is still the engine of this offense. I want to pause the CMC praise. It's deserved. We'll get to him in a second, but yes, Christian McCaffrey is just awesome. Now, there is the factor that the Giants are simply a bad team, right? No Malik Neighbors, no Cam Scatterbo. Their entire secondary was depleted. What could you make of a game like this? And today I would say, sure, I get that. But for how things felt against the Houston Texans, which was down in the dumps, that was a demoralizing loss. Things did not feel good. We started questioning how far could San Francisco go this year with these young guys making that many mistakes, with how bad the offense looked, with really just how bad the team felt leaving that one. I think this is a big bounce back win for San Francisco. San Francisco equally doesn't have Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, Fred Warner, doesn't have Brock Purdy, Pearsall, Ayuk still, doesn't have Ben Barch, and certainly has a laundry list of guys out the Giants could have easily taken advantage of, and they didn't. So I think you can only play who's on your schedule. And don't forget, we say the Giants stink. The Packers have lost to the Browns, who also stink, the Cowboys, or tied to the Cowboys, who are terrible, at least defensively, and they lost to the Panthers today. So we can say teams stink, but we know it's any given Sunday in the NFL, and this Giants team has also beaten Philadelphia and the Chargers and nearly narrowed out a win against the Broncos. So it's not as if this Giants team is that bad, but they are banged up and certainly reeling now after back-to-back losses against the Eagles and the now 49ers. So it's a big win for San Francisco, a big bounce-back win. Almost a game where this young defense had to almost prove to themselves they could still do it. It's almost as if Bethune and Jair Brown, who we'll get to in a second, and this really depleted pass rush of San Francisco needed a game where they came out and dominated, where the box score may say it was 34-24, but that was not the true story of this game. San Francisco's defense was tremendous, and I think we have to start up front because no Nick Bosa, no Bryce Huff. You had the recently acquired Keon White out there for a handful of snaps. You had Clelin Ferrell, who was off the practice squad. Like, oh my gosh, like, man. And just, you didn't know what they looked like in this game. CJ West was a healthy and active once again. So there certainly are questions as to how do they look in this game against the Giants. And the Giants' offensive line isn't terrible. Good left tackle, good interior guys. They did lose their right tackle before this game started, hence why Marcus Bowe was out there, which I think certainly helped San Francisco. But I thought San Francisco's pass rush wasn't that great. That was the expectation. We know they aren't great this year. They're not going to be great until they can get healthy again, which Bryce Huff comes back against the Rams, and maybe at Tuesday's trade deadline, they can acquire somebody, but it wasn't great, right? You had Mykel out there for most of the game, Ferrell, White, Samuel Kawano got a second sack of the season. Ferrell hammered Jackson Dart in this one big time from behind. But other than that, it wasn't a great game pressuring Jackson Dart, which was to be expected, hence why you had to have guys like Bethune, like Winters at linebacker playing better. We saw against the Houston Texans, they were out of position, they were over-aggressive, and the defense missed so many tackles. And in the secondary, the communication was horrendous against the Houston Texans. Today, much better. Things were cleaned up. In fact, I thought this was, not to say a clean game by San Francisco, they allowed 24 points, but I think overall, a really strong day from this young Niners secondary, who, don't forget, are playing a second-year Bernardo Green a rookie Upton Stout, a third-year Jair Brown, and a second-year Mustafa off an ACL injury. They're still really young. They're going to make mistakes, and of course, you have two young linebackers in the middle where the pass rush may have faltered at times, but the linebackers, the secondary, did enough to keep plays in front of them, not letting the Giants get behind them too much, and they took that first hit, and they hit back over and over again to a point they punted 4 or 5 consecutive times today, which is a big thing for San Francisco. There was a drive in this one where I don't know when it took place. It was early in the game, though, where things were still up in the air. But San Francisco stopped 2 consecutive swing passes, and it just felt like the Niners knew what the Giants were running. It was D. Winters, it was Lenore and Jair Brown. They stopped back-to-back swing passes, forced a punt, and at that point in time I said, I have confidence that there was some trepidation about, what the Giants could do. San Francisco's banged up, bad game against the Texans, but at that point in time, San Francisco felt so in control of this game. I thought Bethune and Winters were incredible. I thought the way their presence impacted this game over the middle, the Giants really couldn't do much until late in the fourth quarter when San Francisco was up 3 scores and playing kind of off-zone coverage and allowing them to take everything underneath. That's when things got kind of, bad for the defense. But I thought Bethune, who had 16 tackles in this game, 16, that is the most for a Niners linebacker and player in general since Mykel Williams in 2015. That's how good Bethune was in this one, and sometimes you can have empty calorie tackles where it doesn't really matter. The former Packer and Giants linebacker Blake Martinez was the epitome of empty calorie tackles. Bethune was all over the place, making plays on third down, had a pretty bad BS penalty called against him where Dart dives forward and Bethune lays him it was a high hit, but it wasn't helmet to helmet by any means, and they called him a flag. Other than that, thought it was a great day from him. Got a big pass deflection on third down in this one too. It was just awesome. Now, again, who are the Giants? How good could they be? Fine, but in a season where you're going to play some bad teams against a pretty mobile quarterback in Jackson Dart, they did a pretty good job, just kind of being hounds on the attack, being aggressive where they could have easily walked out there demoralized, played a bad game. You lost against the Houston Texans. The Giants marched down on you in the first drive and put up 7. That could have been it. Mentally, that could have been it. Could have been over. They answered back a lot in this one. I loved what I saw from Bethune. Winters flying around too. And I think that Malik Mustafa, I think, was a major player in this one as well. He had a touchdown-saving tackle in the red zone. I think it was 3rd and 6 on a 4-yard reception. He got a big tackle on Singletary out in the flat, laid him out, saved the tackle. It was just a tremendous play, and they were flying around making plays and doing things the right way. They were much well coached, much more disciplined in this one. And if you go to the box score, which again is not always indicative of the actual product you saw, I think a lot of that stems down to what the Giants were doing on third downs. 5 for 12 today. That's almost the inverse of what the Texans did, who were like 7 for 10 on third downs and fourth downs against San Francisco last week. The Giants rather conservative offensively, which may have helped San Francisco's defense for sure, but to hold the Giants on 56 plays to under 300 total offensive yards in this day and age is nearly impossible. San Francisco's defense did that. It was awesome to see. Big bounce back win. Now, you play the Rams next Sunday, probably a different outcome, but that's a topic for a different show, probably on this Thursday, but still a big day for San Francisco's defense, to bounce back and get the big win. Let's go back to the YouTube chat because we have plenty of comments in here. Appreciate every single one of you out there commenting here and watching live on YouTube. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Tommy Huxley says, the offense has to drive this team. Yes, I think you're right with how many injuries they have, with how many guys are out, and no Bryce Huff, who hopefully come back against the Rams, no Nick Bosa for the rest of the season, no Fred Warner for the rest of the season. Seems like no Mykel for the rest of the season, which we'll talk about Mykel in a second because I think it's a pretty interesting thing that happened today, which could kind of rattle them and change their plans this season at Tuesday's deadline in regards to trades, but the offense was always going to have to be the leading factor for this team because we knew Purdy, when he gets back, if he ever comes back, Pearsall, IU, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle, all the firepower, all of the, I guess you can say, the oil to make the engine run was kind of on that side of the football. And it's unfortunate that the defense can't really do their part, or at least as much as they could if they were healthy. But yes, the offense will have to carry San Francisco. Hence today, putting up 34 points was a big deal. If you can put up 24, 28 points, you're going to be okay. Now, that's hard to do with the guys out there that currently have. It's still Jawan Jennings, caught a touchdown pass, which is awesome to see. It's Kendrick Bourne, it's DeMarcus Robinson, it's a Jordan Watkins, one catch for 19 yards coming back to the football on a big second down conversion. Congrats to him, his first career catch, but that's kind of it, right? Then you have Christian McCaffrey and Kittle and company kind of being the major focus of the offense. But this offense is hindered too, so yes, they have to carry them, but they have their own problems as well. You have to play. You have to play complementary football, and for about 3.5 quarters today, San Francisco did that against a pretty bad Giants team, but nevertheless, a win is a win. You are 6-3. You are in the playoffs if things ended today, and that is what matters. We have a $2 super chat from Tommy Huxley, which I'm just going to read it off. I'll put it on screen, but I'll rephrase it for those at home. They say, Brian Daboll is a terrible coach. Thanks for the $2, Tommy. Appreciate your comment here. Yeah, Brian Daboll is a pretty bad coach. Now, they've been really bad there in New York for a while with him as their head coach. And I'd be shocked if they didn't fire him, but they just got Dart in there, so who knows what happens. They're pretty banged up injured-wise, so we'll see. But the conservative nature of Brian Daboll to get the football in San Francisco's red zone twice and elect to go for a field goal down by 2 scores each time was just insane. There was even one point in time where I think the Giants were down by 3 scores, and they go for a field goal that would have kept them down by 3 scores. Didn't make sense. The fans, rightfully so, booed him in his own stadium. It just kind of showed the Giants were willing and ready to kind of fold over and die in this one, and I think that was what we said coming into the game, that if you can kind of withstand that first quarter push, they'll roll over and die, and the Giants certainly did in this one. From a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint, there really wasn't much punch from the Giants left, which the injuries they have certainly came into a factor when in discussing that and why that came to be. But the Giants just don't have much, left to offer. They have a good pass rush. Thibodeau's great. We'll love him in San Francisco. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. Brian Burns leads the NFL in sacks. Now it's 10, I believe, if not 11 this season. Got one today. And Abdul Carter got a big recovery on a fumble. So, it's not as if the Giants are, the worst team in football. They aren't the Jets. They aren't the Browns. They aren't teams like that. But, very confusing. When you're 2-6 and you're a young team, wouldn't you want to be aggressive? Wouldn't you want to force an opposing defense that's backed up against on red zone to stop you on 4 consecutive downs? Giants, just confusing team. They're dysfunctional. They have some bigger questions and fish to fry. But yes, Brian Daboll, not a great coach, and maybe shouldn't be around for much longer. What do we have here? Benali P says in the YouTube chat, watching Joe Flacco ball out in Cincinnati reminded me that at one point this offseason, the story was the Niners were looking into Joe Flacco. How good does Joe Flacco look? They lost today to the Bears in a crazy finish. But Joe Flacco, ageless wonder. Still getting it done out there in Cincy. He will play as long as he can do that in the NFL, which really showing no signs of slowing down, which shows you that big arms play for a very long time, and Joe Flacco, one of the best arms in football still to this day, and one of the smartest minds at quarterback amongst the veteran groups that are still hovering around. Okay, let's get to the Mykel Williams injury, because the defense really good today. Jair Brown wasn't great, missed a couple of tackles. On the Jackson Dart red zone quarterback run touchdown, it wasn't a zone read, it wasn't a read option. He's playing on the left side of the defense, facing the offense, and as Jackson Dart hikes the football and is running to his right, so on the same side Jair Brown is on, instead of reading the quarterback size or kind of reading the play, he just locks on to maybe the running back or receiver, tight end, doesn't block anybody. He's kind of scoots himself over and drifts further into the teeth of the defense, doesn't block anybody, doesn't engage anybody, just doesn't do anything. It was almost like his controller died. It was did you disconnect? What happened? And so that needs to get cleaned up. It was almost just like he just blanked out for a play, which Marquis Siegel wasn't active in this one. They were playing 3 safeties throughout the entire game, and if you do that, you might get benched. He even got burned for a deep ball downfield today and kind of got lucky because the receiver dropped it. So amongst a sea of really good things today, Tatum Bethune was phenomenal. Mustafa was incredible. Great coverage in the secondary. I thought Ronaldo Green's big third down PBU to stop the momentum of the Giants was big in this one too. Big bounce back games from everybody all around, but Jair Brown still a problem. But I digress. I think San Francisco, looking ahead.
Hey, welcome into Walgreens.
Hi there.
Hey.
All right, hon, I'll grab the gift wrap, cards, and, those stuffed animals the girls want.
Great, and I'll grab the string lights and some... How about I grab some cough drops?
This is not just a quick trip to Walgreens.
I'm fine, honey.
Well, just in case. You know what they say. 'Tis the season.
This is help staying healthy through the holidays. Walgreens.
They're kind of set on defense starter-wise. You think they have 3 guys in the secondary, all under contract for next year at cornerback. Lenore, Green, Stout. Mustafa is your starting safety next year, right? You have Fred, D. Winters under contract still. Maybe wants to get an extension. Might want to do that. Bethune's still young. You had Nicholas Martin. You have guys under contract at linebacker still. Your defensive line, once they get healthy next year, Bosa, Mykel, Bryce Huff, Alfred Collins, West if he can grow into his role. And all the guys that are free agents are kind of bargain bin depth pieces where you can filter those guys in and out of your roster as the years come and go. They're pretty much set on defense when it comes to a starting standpoint, but free safety. I mean, San Francisco could spend some money or at least draft a high-end free safety in the offseason and really get a really strong secondary behind their guys, which I think might be a priority because I think they need that. But Jair Brown certainly is not the answer so far this year and definitely wasn't one today. Okay, let's get to the Mykel Williams injury because it sucked. It looked like San Francisco was about to escape MetLife Stadium without an injury. They were in the fourth quarter, late in the game. No one's gotten hurt so far. Kittle got banged up and came back on the football field. No injuries to report in the postgame until Mykel Williams went down. And the minute you saw him go down, his knee hits the turf at MetLife Stadium, which I'm not blaming for the injury, but still, it happened at MetLife, so those claims are going to be out there. And he immediately grabs his knee. He's writhing in pain on the ground. He's slamming his hand on the turf. You can tell that it's not good. Then all of a sudden, after a TV timeout, he stands up and walks off the field. Whew, you dodged a bullet. And then he's in the medical tent. He's called out. Rest of the game, okay, precautionary fine. Then in the postgame press conference via Kyle Shanahan, we hear that they believe it's an ACL injury and it could be season ending. And to add further into that, Shanahan said he talked to Mykel Williams, who, according to Kyle, was upset, was emotional, and Shanahan, in a roundabout way, said, "We'll see you next season." And that sucks for a variety of reasons, right? It certainly stints Mykel's growth in your number one. It hurts San Francisco now from a run defense standpoint. From a pass rushing standpoint, Mykel was so big in taking up double teams, and for how depleted they are on the defensive line, not having that presence only hurts you more. You already lost Bosa. You don't have Huff for this game, and you lose Mykel. Your top 3 edge rushers are out for 2 of them the rest of the season. It's brutal. It stinks. It sucks. This team is cursed. They have to find in the offseason a new training staff. This wasn't caused by that, but Yetur Gross-Matos was supposed to play in this game or could play. Practiced one day on Thursday, then immediately hurt his hamstring again. Now he's on IR for 4 more weeks. It just it's always something. It stinks. I'm gutted for Mykel. And for as young as he is, for as important as this year was supposed to be for him to grow as a pass rusher, to kind of get those youthful reps and hopefully take a big leap in year 2 and be the Eric Armstead to Nick Bosa and Bryce Huff and free them up, which they were doing early in the year, to not have that now, and now go under the knife. And I know modern medicine is really good, but when you get cut open, the odds are you're not going to always be the same. There is a percentage of maybe you may come back and not be the exact same guy, and that just a big blow to San Francisco, a organization that was hoping to kind of build a new core around their veterans. Now their number 1 pick this year, essentially, in Mykel, is now part of that core of being injured, which just really sucks for him. It's an emotional thing, and now he might be on the sideline, but more results will come Monday from that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it is more of a PCL problem. He did walk to the locker room, but so did Nick Bosa, and we all know what happened there. So hoping Mykel's okay, hoping San Francisco and Mykel have avoided the worst possible scenario, but things do not look good. That said, walking into week number 10, because we have some questions here, and one of the comments by John is, Sterling, we need to trade for 2 edge rushers and maybe a linebacker. I think San Francisco is set at linebacker, but the edge rushing conversation, the edge rushing market is very polarizing because you have a lot of teams that are not really good. The Jets, the Giants, the Bengals, guys who are teams that may want to sell some of their pieces. The Titans, for example. You have some teams in the middle, like the Commanders, like the Raiders, other teams like that may feel like they have an outside chance, but don't really have a chance at all right now with where they're at and how they're playing. The Commanders really should sell. Jaden Daniels got hurt again. They don't look good. Their defense is terrible. I could really, if I'm Adam Peters, I'm selling some pieces off and rebooting for 2026, but that isn't the team I cover, so whatever. But I do think San Francisco now has either 1 or 2 paths to go. Do you realize that, oh crap, we really can't win without Bosa and Mykel? Yeah, Huff's coming back, great, but Gross-Matos may not be back until week number 13. Do you want to risk that? You have Samuel Kawanu, and you have Clelin Ferrell, and you have, Robert Beal Jr. and Keon White, but what is that unit? And on paper, their starting defensive line is Bryce Huff, Alfred Collins, Jordan Elliott, and Samuel Kawanu? That's not good. That's really bad. Bryce Huff is a good player. Collins is young, but besides that, it's not really what you want to see going into Week 10 against the Rams in a very big NFC West showdown where whoever wins that game might be the NFC West champion when it's all said and done and tiebreakers determine things. I think San Francisco does need to make a move. Now, many of you out there might say, go get Trey Hendrickson. Many of you out there, would say maybe, go out there and, get, I don't know. Go get Kayvon Thibodeau. Of course, you'd love to have talented guys like that, but, sometimes you can't just always have the luxury of trading away things. San Francisco desperately does need to hold on to some of their draft picks. However, Trey Hendrickson is hurt. He's probably not going to resign if he does get over via trade, and that may cost you a second-round draft pick, which would you trade a second-round draft pick for a 8 to 9 game rental, and maybe if you're in the playoffs, 10-plus games? I wouldn't do that by any means, but San Francisco is not only depleted, they're running out of bodies. They need to sign Clelin Ferrell on the active roster tomorrow to avoid losing him. I know they may not want to do that because the deadline's on Tuesday. I'd rather risk signing him and releasing him and then letting him go through waivers, because another team out there may say, we need some edge rushers, and Ferrell, like Travis Gibson's up for grabs. So I would at least maneuver the roster in that capacity, give you some protection in that way. But yeah, San Francisco does need to upgrade, or at least find bodies that can actually give you some valuable snaps. I think Arden Key's not out of the question. It's a cheaper depth, a rental piece. Maybe Bradley Chubb for like, I don't know, 2026 draft pick or 7 draft pick. Maybe not something this year. Don't forget, San Francisco has 8 draft picks. 7 of those are rounds 4 and up. I don't know if you want to do that. Arden Key can maybe be there. I think that Chubb is certainly there. If you want to go maybe a higher end rental, Jalen Phillips could be out there, but the asking price, according to some reports, is pretty high. And San Francisco does seem to be keen on getting somebody that'll be here for 2 seasons or more. That's why I think that if San Francisco is this desperate, which I think they are now, without Mykel and without Bosa, and who knows what happens as the year progresses, but they have to find somebody that can be here this year and beyond. You know, like Keanu White is, albeit he's a depth guy, kind of bargain bin guy. I think he's in line to replace Yetur Gross-Matos once he's gone in free agency next year. They fit the exact same role, do the exact same thing, albeit Gross-Matos is much better than Keanu White. But that said, you have to find somebody that can be here beyond this year to replace Samuel Kawanu or replace other guys in that same grouping. So I am right now not even talking to the Bengals about Trey Hendrickson. Not in my brain, not doing it. I'm probably not even now going to Kayvon Thibodeau. I love Tibbs. I would love him in San Francisco, but I just don't know if San Francisco really wants to spend that high of draft capital. The asking price, I believe the Giants have said, is a first-round draft pick. SF ain't doing that. Maybe it's a rumor out there, but they can't do that. But I think they tap the Jets well, and they could make 2 trades with New York. Maybe they can get Michael Clemens and Jermaine Johnson. Now, maybe that's wishful thinking. I think San Francisco could utilize 2 bodies, but I really would love to get Jermaine Johnson here for 2 years, and then get Michael Clemens for a rental. The Jets could use some picks. I think Clemens could probably go for a draft pick in 2026. Maybe a 5th rounder. Maybe Jermaine Johnson is the more expensive option for you, but I do think both those guys could be fits in San Francisco. One for now, be a Band-Aid in Clemens, and also Johnson being here for 2 years, where you can walk into 2026 with Bosa, Huff, a returning Mykel, and then hopefully Jermaine Johnson fully healthy, which Johnson would give you an instant upgrade over Samuel Kawanu on the outside. He can also play the inside. No solid defense, and I think if there is one move I would make at the deadline, it is getting Jermaine Johnson. That's who I'm honed in on. That's who I think San Francisco wants. Maybe I'm wrong, but we will see as Tuesday's deadline approaches. But you're not getting Jeffrey Simmons. I don't think Trey Hendrickson's really the guy. I really don't know if the Saints are selling. Carl Granderson's name really hasn't been out there. They seem more inclined to deal guys like Chris Olave and more offensive players that they don't want to pay much money to, whereas the Niners need defense, not offense. And I think if Purdy comes back, if Pearsall and Ayuk can come back, I do think that the edge rushing market is up for grabs. In San Francisco, if San Francisco walked out of the deadline with Keanu White and 2 or at least 1 more edge rusher that can start for them, that's a pretty good deal. Now, Mykel isn't a good pass rusher now, but you can at least replace or upgrade over his production to help you. So there is ways San Francisco can improve, but really now you may even say they have to have a run defending edge rusher, which Ferrell is more along those lines than a pass rusher, but maybe they go that route too and say, hey, our best option to win football games isn't getting to the quarterback, it is actually stopping the run, which the Seahawks want to run the football. The Rams, Stafford's playing great, but Kyren Williams, you saw how big that was, stopping him on the ground against the Rams early in the season. Maybe San Francisco changes their tune and goes for a run-defending edge rusher. So we'll see as time goes on, but they can either get more aggressive with Mykel being out, which I think I would do, albeit do it smartly, or kind of say, look, kind of a wash. Like, we're screwed no matter what we do. We don't... Like, it doesn't matter who we trade for, who we sign, they're going to get hurt. This year, albeit isn't a wash, you have to make a push in some capacity, but we are royally screwed on the defensive line, which I don't think is really too far to say for how many guys are out and who they've lost. Like, had depth guys gotten hurt, that's different, but you've lost your top 3 guys in regards to rushing the quarterback. But, people here in the YouTube chat are saying, Joseph asks, Sterling, could we use draft capital and get rid of Jawan Jennings? Jennings in his 6th for something or nothing. I think Jawan's staying put. I think after today, caught his 2nd touchdown of the season, looked good, looked relatively healthy again. I just think the deadline is more defense. I think San Francisco knows that. I think San Francisco realizes that if they're at full capacity, which is not likely of any season under this training staff and under Kyle Shanahan, they are much more set offensively. Purdy, McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, Kittle, Pearsall, Ayuk, this year Jennings, at least next year, Demarcus Robinson, and whoever else they draft in that room. Then defensively, it's kind of, there's holdovers, but right now, all of your needs are on defense, which stinks, but I think defensive line is the answer. Jermaine Johnson feels like the primary person you go after. But obviously wishful thinking would say Kayvon Thibodeau and other guys like that. But the Jets, they stink. Niners, take advantage of that. I would swing 2 trades, Clemens and Johnson, over from New York. Give them something nice they can kind of sink their teeth into. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets who have lost 2 running backs to season-ending injuries, I believe, if they're open to trading Breece Hall, which they say they're not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. If somebody pays up for him, maybe a 3rd-round pick, maybe a 2nd-round pick, we'll see. But if they do that, I can see Guerendo for Michael Clemens being an actual fit for the Jets. So maybe trading off some of your unnecessary depth for an edge rusher wouldn't be a bad idea if you are the 49ers, which I really wouldn't hate that. But they're in a bind. Will they find their way through it? Right now, it kind of feels like they're in the goblet of fire. They're in the maze. There's dragons. There's always something around the next corner that has, some evil witch magic kind of hovering over the Niners right now. And there's always another adversary outside of playing football in front of them, which sucks. But that's where they're at now. But defensive line, just take the Jets players away. Jets are bad. They want to make deals, and they'll do those deals. And I think San Francisco could have 2 of the Jets edge rushers by Tuesday's 1 p.m. West Coast deadline. I do want to move to the offense, and I do want to share with you a small Brock Purdy update we got before we get into the actual game itself. But first, I want to remind you guys, if you want to go to a Niner game this year or a concert, baseball is over, the NBA's in full swing. Niners have 8 weeks left. Week 10 and on, up to Week 18. If you want to see them live and in person, use our promo code 49ersaccess, 49 ERS ACCESS at SeatGeek.com and save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Things are expensive. Costco cost me $700. Gas is also insane. People are losing their jobs left and right. Saving money is of the utmost importance right now. I do it. My wife does it. We are coupon using, bargain bin shopping folks out here besides the Costco trip, obviously. And if you can save yourself $20 off anything, you do it. So use that promo code 49ersaccess, 49 ERS ACCESS at SeatGeek.com and save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Okay, we did get ourselves some Brock Purdy news today after the game because there is a report leading into Sunday that Brock Purdy might not only be active, but could be Mac Jones' backup quarterback. He was listed as questionable leading into this game, but was inactive, was not the emergency third quarterback from what I understood. He was in street clothes, wasn't going to play. So after the game, the media asked Kyle, what was up with that? Why was there conflicting reports? What was the plan here? In Shanahan's own words, was that Purdy was not close to playing in this game. That's kind of a big deal because when you're listed as questionable, when you are discussed as maybe being the emergency third quarterback, maybe being Mac Jones' backup, and seemingly inching closer to playing, if not week 10, short thereafter, and now we're being told he wasn't even close to play. Does that concern you? Does it worry you? Are you okay with Mac Jones playing more? Obviously, he's 5-2 as a starter this year, which is really good. But the fact that Purdy was not close to playing, I don't know if that means that is going to be the same thing for Sunday against the Rams. Obviously, things are day-to-day with Purdy and his toe, but, he's going on missing 5 to 6 weeks now. I don't mind that. I want Purdy healthy whenever he comes back, but I don't know how you go from questionable, might be a backup or the emergency third quarterback to he wasn't even close.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
That to me is confusing. Now, it's not my decision to make, but I don't know. That was a more concerning update than I think any of the positive things we got leading into this game, and definitely made me think about what next Sunday against the Rams looks. I still think he's not going to play against the Rams on Sunday. In Week 10, I think they might be targeting Week 11 or Week 12. I think Week 12 at the latest against the Panthers. Monday Night Football at home. I think that makes logical sense. He gets the extra day of rest on a Monday. It's primetime football. And I think that they believe they can at least beat the Cardinals with Mac Jones and make them hopefully 2 games above 500. Maybe you're 7-4. Purdy comes back going into Week 12. Not a bad place to be by any means. And you're pretty much in a good spot the rest of the season. But I didn't love that. That was very concerning of me. It was kind of passed off like nothing, like it was not a big deal. But I was like, wait a minute. That is not aligned with what you've said leading into this game. Now he wasn't even close to play. Then what was the hullabaloo of the questionable and he may play? And so small update, but maybe an important one as the Ram game is a week away or 7 days away now as we speak on Sunday night, November 2nd. Moving along to Mac Jones in this one and the offense, because I thought the offense, this may have been the best they have looked all year. Now they're playing a banged-up Giants defense. They have 3 of their top cornerbacks out. The top safety was out. Their linebacker got hurt in this game. If the offense didn't have success, you'd be hearing my mic clip because I'd be yelling and screaming and all those things. But Mac Jones looked really good in this game. No, it wasn't, 400 passing yards and, 4 touchdowns. He wasn't doing Sam Darnold-like things against the Commanders in Week 9, but it was really impressive. There were so many plays downfield for about, 10, 15, 20 yards. I thought Mac he had 2 completions of 20-plus yards in this game. Multiple completions deep downfield. Now, by deep, I mean, 15, 20 yards or so. But the offense looked explosive. The offense looked like it was playing a really bad defense in regards to the secondary being depleted. And that's what you want to see. You want an offense like San Francisco's, despite not having some of their starters out there, to be able to beat up a really bad Giants secondary. And that was the case, which... you saw San Francisco against the Texans, who are a really good defense, but the offense couldn't move the football at all. 15 points. It was like fighting tooth and nail for every single blade of grass, whereas this game, it was like every single play was a big chunk, multiple runs on the ground. It just looked like a well-oiled machine against a banged-up Giants defense. And I think the big reason for that was they finally gave Mac Jones time to throw. The offensive line was atrocious against the Houston Texans, albeit against two of the best defensive ends in football, in Anderson and Hunter. But this is still Abdul Carter, top 5 pick in this year's draft, having a good rookie season. Kayvon Thibodeau, 4-year veteran, first-round draft pick, good player on the interior, good player off the edge, doing good things. And Brian Burns, Agent Zero, is a sack leader. He's a really good player. It is no slouch by any means. 3 really good pass rushers. And I think San Francisco's offensive line really handled them today. And it wasn't like it wasn't a quick game. It really wasn't, it wasn't these CMC checkdowns and his 5 yards. No, they had plenty of time to throw. I think Mac Jones was sacked twice in this game. But how about Spencer Burford playing left guard? Now, obviously, the Niners offensive line will play the Rams, and they'll have bigger tests as the year goes on. But I was really impressed by what Burford brought to left guard. The agility to be a pull blocker, get downfield. There was a play early in this game where he pulls across the guard or the center and guard and right tackle, picks up a blocker, and gives Mac Jones time to throw. And Mac Jones was only pressured 5 times today on 28 dropbacks. It's pretty good for a team that felt like every single time he dropped back against the Giants or against the Texans, it was a pressure. That's how bad it was. Today, only 5 pressures against Mac Jones. That was his second lowest percentage of the season at 18% in regards to pressure. Outside of that, he was 17 for 22 for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns when he wasn't pressured. It's amazing what a quarterback can do, no matter who they are, when they have time to throw. It's amazing what even guys like Mac Jones can do. And so far this season, when San Francisco's offensive line holds opposing defenses to under a 25% pressure rate, San Francisco is 4-0. Isn't that surprising? Isn't that, interesting? You tackle on defense, you get off the field on third down, and you protect your quarterback. You can win some games. Now, the Giants didn't blitz much. They blitzed 3 times in this one. But even when they blitzed, Jones was still really good. Really good. And on passes over 10 air yards today, Mac Jones was 6 for 7 for 104 yards. Not a bad day for McCorkle. Now, again, it's the Giants' defense, but still, it was a solid day where the offense should have looked good, where, I don't know about you, but there really wasn't much faith, or at least there wasn't this exuberant confidence of they got this in the bag. No, yeah, again, the Giants' defense is bad. I expected 24 points. They scored 34 points. They they reached above the expectation I set for them in this one. So a very good day for Mac Jones. He was precise in his throws, good decision maker. Guys were wide open, which certainly helps. But I think it was a good bounce back day. There's nothing wrong having a get right game in week number 9. When you've traded wins and losses, you lose against the Buccaneers, you beat the Falcons, you lose against the Houston Texans, and you beat the Giants. It's not bad. Not bad. Excuse me. I'm not sick anymore, but I still have a cough. That said, they looked really good. They looked really good. I thought Mac was strong in this game. Didn't throw his first incompletion until about 14 minutes left in the third quarter, so beginning of the third quarter. And that's what he's 14 for 14 to begin the day. I think he may have been 16 for 16, but to end the first half, he was 14 for 14. Really strong day, 2 touchdowns. one to Jawan Jennings, one to Christian McCaffrey, and just kind of set the tone for what the game would look like. They got ahead of the Giants and were able to play keep away and expose a really bad Giants run defense, which the stats will indicate this game not as impressive for San Francisco, but still. I think that the offensive line played much better. They were good in pass protection, only sacked twice. Mac, we thought was an INT when he got strip sacked, but it was a sack, so it wasn't an incompletion. But outside of 2 plays, the offensive line was really good in this one. The run game worked really well, and I think Mac Jones's efforts early, being precise, being on point, getting the football downfield, being a big reason as to why San Francisco in this game was 6 for 11 on 3rd down and 1 for 1 on 4th downs, and passing for 221 yards, and completing 19 of 24 passes. This was a classic Kyle Shanahan, kind of offensive output. This was a, hey, we're going to run the football 39 times, ask the QB to do exactly what he has to do, be precise, be on point, be on time, let guys do the work for him, and we're going to be okay. And we've seen this in 2019. We saw it in 2021, 22, 23, and we saw it a little bit this year against the Falcons, where if you can run the football and be okay in pass protection, this offense will look like previous iterations of the offense under Kyle Shanahan. And today was a classic, nostalgic almost, Shanahan like performance of the offense. Go to the box score for a second, which, no surprise here. If you feed Christian McCaffrey, you will win football games. Who'd have thought that? There was no excuse as to why CMC touched the football 12 times against the Houston Texans. It was a big reason why. I complained for almost an hour of what is going on? You can't have that happen. In this game, there was an effort to feed CMC. Got back to his ways of touching the football with 28 carries and 5 receptions for 33 total touches in this football game. He had 173 yards, caught 2 touchdown passes, or scored 2 touchdowns, including 1 reception and 1 on the ground. This was a classic vintage Christian McCaffrey, beat you in 2 ways. Over 100 yards on the ground for the second time this season, the first time being against the Falcons, I believe. And then 67 yards through the air, and a near 40-yard completion on a quick kind of, in the flat kind of swing pass late in the game to help put this one away for San Francisco. This is a great game. Really good game. Getting CMC involved helps. Getting Christian McCaffrey the ball helps a lot. Usually you win football games if CMC is a big reason why, or you win football games because of Christian McCaffrey getting the football a lot. Defenses can know what's happening, but he's still too good to stop. I thought there was explosive runs from him. It's not often you see that this season, but a big 16-yard run. However, I have one complaint. It's very small. Love CMC, everything he does. He passed Marshall Faulk for the most games in NFL history with a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. With 16 career games of a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, he's on a Hall of Fame trek towards the end of his career. Impressive outing, impressive day. That said, don't love the fact that after you watch Mykel Williams potentially tear his ACL, that CMC is getting the football on the final drive of the game. You're up 2 scores. There's 2 minutes left. What are you doing? Put Grendo in. Make Jordan James active. Let Adrian Martinez carry the football, not Christian McCaffrey. I don't love that, but that is Shanahan being Kyle Shanahan. I also would like to see a heck of a lot more from Brian Robinson. This was the breakout we have been waiting for. Brian Robinson can be such a good weapon for this offense. You traded for him, and you never use him. And there's been some games where he hasn't been great. The vision wasn't great to begin the year, but you can tell as the year has gone on, momentum is building towards him being, maybe a more vital part of your rushing attack. I loved the usage today of Brian Robinson. Didn't need to touch the football a lot. Not at all. But it's when he got the football that mattered. Big part of the reason San Francisco closed this game out. The Niners got up early and got to impose their will late. Primarily because CMC kind of wore the opposing defense down, and then Brian Robinson being, 6'1", 225 pounds, could just bowl over dudes in that Giants defense. It's just this is how you use Brian Robinson. You called Jordan Mason the closer, and you never used him that much until CMC got hurt. Mix Brian Robinson in more. You saw what he can do today. Yeah, it's the Giants' worst run defense in football. I get that. But 5 carries for 53 yards for 10.6 yards a carry? Are you kidding me? San Francisco hasn't even sniffed 6 yards a carry all year long. Brian Robinson was tremendous in this game. He was stiff-arming dudes, bouncing off guys left and right. Had a big 18-yard run in this one. Also, a 41-yard kick return. This dude is a weapon. Now, yeah, it's the Giants. I get it, right? We know. But this is how you mix and match your running backs. Give me some lightning and thunder action here. Put these two guys together. You can have a more formidable rushing attack with these guys playing together. He doesn't have to get the football 10 times. 5 to 8 times is that sweet spot. Brian Robinson can be a vital part of your rushing attack as the year goes on against the Rams, the Cardinals, the Panthers in the next 3 games. But I know it's going to happen. He'll have 1 carry against the Rams. He'll get -1 yard because somebody on the offensive line blows their block. He won't see the football for 2 more weeks, and that's frustrating. You traded away draft capital for him. Use him. I love the 41-yard kick return. That's awesome. He pulled it out of the end zone. You don't do that, and got a 41-yard return, hurdled some dude, and made the Giants look stupid. But I'd prefer him run the football 5 to 8 times a game, spell Christian McCaffrey, allow CMC to be a receiver more often, and hopefully keep him fresh because he is the lifeblood of your offense. I think early in the show, if I can find the name here really fast, hold on.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If I can find the comment here, John said Christian McCaffrey is the engine of your offense. Yeah, you want to keep the engine fresh. He hasn't lost a step. He looks perfectly fine, but you'd like to avoid any future incidents, knowing how bad the injuries have been. So utilize Brian Robinson. He's got some strength. He can be the power back, and he can spell Christian McCaffrey. Just please utilize Brian Robinson. The offensive line was good. CMC is just Offensive Player of the Year worthy again this year. On pace for 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. My God. Any discussion of he's lost a step, throw it away. It's a bunch of BS then. It's a bunch of BS now. He looks fine. The offensive line was always the problem. Still is. It's one game. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But in 2 of their last 3 games, they have taken advantage of rather poor run defenses, which you hope continues as the year goes on, and maybe Burford's back and Barch is back, and maybe as Brock Purdy comes back, that can continue. And hopefully help improve your offense. And there is maybe an aspect to saying, the run game getting going with the return of maybe some more offensive players, you're in for a good chance to make a run and have the offense pick up the pieces. And I think, now that guys are getting healthier, albeit not on defense, you're having Luke Farrell play better. I think was phenomenal on special teams today, which how great has San Francisco's special teams been this year? There was a couple games early, but ever since they got Pinheiro in and through 9 weeks of the Brant Boyer tenure. He has turned this unit into being average, which is what we have been asking for for a couple of years. Just be average. Don't cost us things. And they haven't done so. So, big all-around team win from this one. Bethune, 16 tackles, awesome. Christian McCaffrey, awesome in this one. Brian Robinson, just keep using him, please. Keep using him, please. The offensive line, big game back. Jawan Jennings, kind of in the midst of trade rumors, gets a big touchdown reception. Good to see him back as the receiver number 1 in this one for San Francisco. Just an all-around nice bounce-back win. You can't be complacent. You can't sit back and say, ho, 6-3. No, you are third place in the NFC West. Plenty of big plays today you can look at. Jordan Watkins, big 19-yard reception. Kendrick Bourne, still the epitome of consistency after a lot of drops early in the year. Him and Mac Jones still have the chemistry. George Kittle became the third fastest tight end to 550 receptions, just losing to Kelsey, obviously, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, and Zach Ertz, who might also be a Hall of Famer when his career is over. But just everybody was doing the right things today. Not many big mistakes against the Texans. Too many catastrophic mistakes in this one. Not many at all. Just sticky in coverage. Communication was on point, and I think it was a good building block, kind of swing back up as San Francisco plays what I think will be their biggest game of the season against the Rams. Week 10, NFC West showdown. If you win that game, you are back in first place in the NFC West, and if you win that game as well, you have swept the Los Angeles Rams, which I think would be a massive win. Do I think it happens? Probably not, but a lot can happen leading into Tuesday's trade deadline that maybe can swing things in San Francisco's favor. We have some crazy comments here in the YouTube chat I want to get to before we go out because I think they're good conversations to have. Joseph Ehrenberg asks, rather off topic, what is your favorite Sith Lord? Thank you for the $2, Joseph. I always love to hear in the YouTube chat. He asks, who is your favorite Sith Lord? Mine, I don't know Star Wars very well outside of some of the Old Republic stuff and obviously the trilogies they have out and the 9 sagas they have out, but my favorite Sith Lord's probably Darth Maul. Why would it not be? You can get me with dual lightsabers and a red and black makeup and just flips and jumps and dives any day of the week. I was pretty upset that after Solo, they teased us and he never came back outside of the cartoon stuff, but the Clone Wars, but eagerly hoping Darth Maul makes a return to Star Wars. Star Wars kind of in the gutter right now, but Darth Maul could bring me back. I don't care what he's in. You give me Darth Maul, I'll be there on day number 1. Let's see what else we have here in the YouTube chat. Let's see. We have a comment by Strawberry Reacts that I think is probably a little more hyperbole here, but I think more of a shot at the Mac Jones lovers who are anti-Brock Purdy. And they say, I hope they cut Brock and take the dead cap, and they pay Mac Jones 5 years, $500 million fully guaranteed, so they can get stuck with Mac for 5 years. It would be hilarious watching you spin like a top. He had an interception in the first half that I got lucky on, but that, of course, gets ignored. It doesn't get ignored here. The Giants certainly bailed out the Niners defense a handful of times today. Go for a field goal, you miss it, and then you don't go for a touchdown late in the game on inside San Francisco's 6-yard line. Bailed out San Francisco's young defense. Maybe the game changes there, or maybe San Francisco makes a play and nobody scores like they did. Either way. But a good day for San Francisco. A victory Monday ahead of us as the clock ticks over into November 3rd. We're on daylight savings time. We're heading into week number 10 and the NFL trade deadline. Tell me down below what deals you want San Francisco to make. Stay tuned for a special trade deadline edition of the show. We'll preview it. We'll react to it right here on the YouTube channel and on the audio podcasting platforms. But San Francisco gets the win, 34-24 over the New York Giants. They climbed to 6-3 on the season, still in third place in the NFC West, but still afloat in the NFC playoff picture. Would love to know what your guys' thoughts on this game was down below. Are you hoping Brock Purdy returns soon? Are you on the Mac Jones train? What do you think of Brian Robinson's role? Do you want more B-Rob as the year continues? And what did you think of the defense? Did they bounce back, or do you still have some serious concerns? The pass rush, Mykel Williams may be out for the season. It's a brutal loss. What do you make of that as well? Drop those comments down below. Follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. And utilize that promo code 49ersaccess, 49 ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. The trade deadline is ticking away. It is on Tuesday at 1 p.m. As Tommy Huxley says, in regards to Mykel Williams, Met Death strikes again. Yes, it does. It's like the Drake and Josh meme where it's like Megan. It's like MetLife. That's what it felt like watching Mykel Williams go down today, which hopefully he's okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed, things are not what they seem. But my name is Sterling Bennett. San Francisco gets the win. Enjoy your victory Monday, and hopefully Mykel's news is positive tomorrow, that being Monday. And for the update, you can follow us on social media for that. Until next time, though, my name is Sterling Bennett, and as always, stay faithful.